Drivers, start your engines!
This is MRN Motorsports Monday. 1 full hour of news, interviews, and opinion about the past weekend's racing action.
Pace car's turning off. Be ready.
Now here's your hosts, Woody Cain and Joey Meier.
Green flag, green flag.
Motorsports Monday is brought to you by D'Agostini Model Space. Build and drive a 1/7 scale radio-controlled model of Sebastian Vettel's championship-winning Red Bull RB7. Find out more at buildrb7.com. Hello again, everyone. Woody Cain alongside Joey Meier, two-spotter for Brad Keselowski as we get ready to review Pocono and Iowa. And what a weekend it was. Kyle Busch wins again, but it was a truck race. Then we had Ryan Blaney winning in Iowa, his first of the season, and Matt Kenseth keeps Joe Gibbs' racing streak alive. But my goodness, was it a convoluted finish. Nobody really knew what to expect.
We show up at Pocono. It's a very unique layout. Again, we previewed it last week with every corner being designed after a different track. And you go there. It's the longest race speedway we go, straightaway we go to, 3,700 plus feet. With very unique layouts, triangle. It's a tri-oval.
It's tricky.
A true tri-oval. It's not. It doesn't have. We have other tri-ovals that have four corners. This is a true triangle, tri-oval shaped racetrack. So we have two races there that put on great shows. The truck race, you didn't know what was going on until the end of the race. We had sparks flying at lap 4 right away, involving multiple champions from a lot of series. And then they go to Iowa, the racetrack over there. Again, we can't praise that facility enough. One of the few in the industry that was designed by a race car driver, a successful race car driver, Hall of Fame, Rusty Wallace, currently employed by MRN in the booth. So he did a great job of race car design, track design up there, and it puts on a fantastic show. He took a racetrack similar to Richmond, made it a little bit bigger, a little wider, and it does produce great results that the fans enjoy. And there's not a race car driver that shows up there that doesn't enjoy that track, even if they don't win. So it produces good results. So the two unique facilities, with the 7/8 mile at Iowa and the over 2 mile in length at Pocono, the tricky triangle. So awesome weekend with weather.
Sure, I don't remember a weather weekend like that at Pocono.
Exactly
it was
right.
Outstanding.
Yep, and again, qualifying went off pretty much like it was. Everybody expected it to. Kyle Busch sat on the pole.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
So and after topping final practice too.
Exactly. So nobody was shocked there. Had a chance to win that race. Kyle did at the end. Him and Joey battled it out, and they weren't looking for a fuel mileage race.
They found it.
It turned into one for those guys because they didn't have any fuel.
Yeah.
So for them, it was a fuel mileage race.
Somebody said earlier, all races are fuel mileage races.
We talk about it, exactly right. When you crank your engine, you have the ability to either start saving fuel or start to burn it. And those guys burned just a little bit more than they wanted to. They pitted and knew right away they were short on gas to get to the end, but we were counting on cautions to save. Essentially 1 lap of caution gives you 2 laps of green, and so only 1 caution lap would have allowed both those guys to finish that race and battle it out. But it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, that's what was interesting to me is when they made their final stops, they got inside a window of about 36, 37-ish, around in that range. Those first stops, when some guys were on different agendas, they stretched it to 39. But the difference was there were some caution laps in there. So they were kind of counting on a caution, and I think everybody really expected another caution or two along the way, but still, they were right on the verge of the extreme end of as far as they could go, and some made it, some didn't.
Yeah, every race team has a notebook for the year, for the driver, for the season, but track specifically, one of the things they have is when caution flags come out. You have an average of what race, how many cautions, how many laps they were, and when they occur. So you can count on Pocono producing a caution at the end of the last 20 laps of a race, and you bank on that. Your strategy is used from those notes. And yesterday it pulled out, and what it did was it made everybody go back and change their notes for next year's race because we didn't have a caution those last 30 laps, and it was a very peculiar incident. A lot of guys ran out of gas there at the end.
Yeah, they did.
We had one of the largest, what I thought was interesting, not only did Matt win the race and the 2-car battled back from a lap down in a pit road incident, which has been all over Twitter, but we were 9 seconds behind Matt. The guy behind us was 10 or 12 seconds behind.
Yeah. Junior was like 30-something, I think, behind, and he winds up 5th.
Fourth or fifth.
Yeah.
30 seconds behind the leader. So we were all coasting around.
Fourth, you're right, fourth.
Yeah, coasting around there at the end. And I know on our radio we were screaming, shut off. Just shut the car off. You've got to make it back here. Nobody behind
Like
you.
Days of Thunder.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's the way Pocono went. And again, the truck race was good. I got involved with an ARCA race, another series there.
Oh, you
triple-header.
spotted the ARCA race?
Little ARCA race action.
Who'd you spot for?
Austin Terrio, who drives
Oh, yeah,
our truck.
yeah. Okay.
He was in an ARCA car. We finished fourth in that event. He was able to drive a Venturini motorsports car for those guys who he won with in Michigan earlier in the year.
I didn't realize you did that. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was a triple header weekend for myself. I missed going to Iowa. I used to like going to Iowa. I still would. I didn't get a chance to go. So normally Brad, when he would do the double header, we would qualify Friday and then jump in an airplane and go there and practice the car and then come back. And then Saturday we'd have happy hour and then jump in a plane and go to Iowa. So I always enjoyed doing that, but I didn't get a chance to do it because little Blaney drove the car, and I think he did a pretty good job.
I think he did too. He really did, although I thought Brendan Gaughan was going to get him on one of those 18 restarts at the end. A couple of people got swings at him. And by the way, Ryan Blaney will be on the program a little bit later, just a few minutes, as a matter of fact. Matt Kenseth will join us as well, the winner at Pocono in the Sprint Cup Series, and he was as surprised as anyone to get that victory. But you mentioned one of the guys who was talking about running out of fuel. Kyle Busch was the guy who looked like he was going to win 4 in a row, and he talked with our Glenn Jarrett after the event.
And we've caught up with Kyle Busch, who did everything humanly possible today to get that 4th straight win, but, man, it just wasn't in the cards.
I thought it was, I didn't know we were that short on making it on fuel, and by the time I got notice that the 22 was going to run out, he was pretty much out, so by then, to try to save however much gas in the last 3 laps of the race, that just wasn't going to be feasible, but I didn't know we were that close. I wish that maybe I had a little bit better heads up, but I can't fault these guys for trying and going for broke. We're in the position we're in for a reason, and that's because of fast race cars. And today we probably we could have made a few different choices there through the last run and made it and won this thing again, but that just wasn't to be. So this M&M's Crispy Camry was awesome today, though. Really fast car. I thought I was faster than Joey. I just couldn't get there in traffic. I got real loose behind him, and the closer I would get to him, so I just couldn't make anything up.
Well, the interesting thing to me is we've seen fuel mileage races before. We've seen guys try to stretch it and fail before, but I don't remember one, at least in recent memory, where we had 1, 2, and 3 and several other guys on the lead lap, that many fall short on fuel at the end of a strategy race like that.
And everybody that ran out has wins.
Yeah.
So they had no issues with running out of gas because they were going for another win.
Yeah.
Because like us, we finished second. It means nothing. It looks really cool and pads the points a little bit, but right now it's irrelevant. Once you have that coveted win and you're in the chase, all you want is number 2. All you want is number 3. If you have 3, you want 4. The thing I found interesting is Kyle Busch took the risk of wanting more wins with having confidence in how good they're running. They understand they're still outside the top 30.
But they closed a little bit
They
more.
did, but there was a point in that race that they were in the top 30.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that they risked that number of points because he ended up losing almost 20 points or not gaining
Yeah,
the
he
20
could have
points.
gained 20 more or
And
so.
those 20 points would have put him in the top 30.
Yeah.
So I was curious because we have 5 more races to go. And again, we've talked about it here on the show. He's going to be in the chase unless something catastrophically ridiculous happens in the next 5 weeks.
Which is not out of the question.
No. After watching yesterday's race
yeah.
at Pocono, the first 20 laps lasted half the day.
Yeah, we know anything can happen.
Exactly. But I was curious that they threw caution to the wind, literally, without having a caution. They said, we're going for another win and being able to battle Joey Logano there and giving up those 20 points because that's essentially what it cost them.
I really thought Logano was going to win that thing. And, in all this stretch where Kyle Busch has been so dominant, the guy who's been right on his heels for the most part has been Joey Logano. And here it looks like finally he's going to get him and win one and beat him, on the track. And then he runs out, Kyle runs out, Truex runs out, all these different guys
Jimmy
do.
pitted. There's a bunch of guys that came down pit road. And again, we saw how perseverance paid off for the 2-car especially, coming back from a lap down, the scary pit road accident, which I'm proud to announce that everybody was checked out okay this morning with x-rays. The pit crew guys, they're going to be a little sore.
Yeah, I bet.
Anytime you get hit by a car,
That's something.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen deer in worse conditions alongside the road.
At Pocono in particular.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those guys are doing well, but a lot of different perseverance. Dale Jr. gets spun out running 33rd. But with Cole Witt battling on a restart, and he was able to come back and finish 4th. You just never, ever can give up on these races and you always say, this is what I have to do to get to the end. This is what we're doing. This is our strategy, and you hope it plays out, and yesterday it did.
Absolutely. All right, big show coming up for you, as we mentioned, on Motorsports Monday. Coming up a little bit later, the Pocono winner, Matt Kenseth. But next, Ryan Blaney will join us after that strong win at Iowa Speedway. You can play along with us as well at MRN Radio on Twitter. Use the hashtag AskMRN. Ask us a question. We'll try to get to it a little bit later on in our program. Back with Ryan Blaney next.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
When your friends walk in and see the model of Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull F1 car that's over 2 feet long, they're gonna freak. When you tell them it's radio controlled, they're gonna love it. Then when you tell them you built it yourself, they will be blown away. Build and race a 1/7 scale model of Sebastian Vettel's championship-winning RB7 Formula One car from modelspace.com. Even if you're a novice, the instructions are clear and concise with full-color photographs and extra videos online to guide you throughout the build. And how about this for detail? The kit comes with hydraulic fluid so you can build the shock absorbers yourself. Order now and you'll get the fuel bottle and RC controller free with your kit. Go online and check out all the free gifts, the amazing detail of the model, and download a sample of the build guide. Your friends won't believe it even when they see it. Start building your RC model today. Go online to buildrb7.com. Buildrb7.com. Buildrb7.com.
Hey, I'm Eric Almirola. Now back to Joey Meier and Woody Cain on Motorsports Monday.
Blaney crosses the stripe, looks through the windshield, sees the white flag. One more circuit to go between him and victory. It is Blaney leading the field off turn 2.
He has been level perfect on restarts. He has maintained a very comfortable lead, carving up traffic, lap traffic tonight. And once again, Ryan Blaney has made his way back into turn 3 and 4. One final time for Blaney off the 4th turn.
It was heartbreak last weekend at Indianapolis. Checkers tonight in Iowa. Ryan Blaney wins the U.S. Cellular 250 presented by New Holland for the NASCAR Xfinity Series in a dominating performance.
It really was a dominating performance, and the driver of the number 22 Discount Tire Ford Mustang, the winner at Iowa, joins us on the guest line now. Ryan Blaney, welcome back to the program, and congratulations, man. I know you've been eager for that one for a long time this year after being so close.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. And that was a fun night. Saturday night we had a really fast Discount Tire Ford Mustang, and to do that after a big disappointment the previous week definitely made us feel a lot better than what we did.
Yeah, so what happened those 8 laps you didn't lead?
Wow. That's what you're going to start with?
Yeah, so,
wow.
I mean, what happened?
You're supposed to be nice to company.
Yeah. Well, look, I already heard an earful of it from Joey Logano after he led all 300 at Bristol earlier this year. Yeah. He said I slacked off for those 8 laps. So, maybe we'll have to make up for it somehow, but.
Hey, when you show up at Iowa, the Team Penske 22 car has had success there in that August race specifically. Do you go there and automatically start with similar setups, or do you and Greg sit down and go, yeah, this is what I like, this is what I like? Is it actually different? Do you use your past notes, or is it all fresh and new?
We actually went to this Iowa race completely different to where we were the first one this year, because we didn't think we were very good earlier this year, and had some things with the track changed, so we really had to drastically change our setup to try to make it better. And what we brought back was really, really strong, and it's something me and Greg sat down and talked about for a really long time, what we thought was going to be really good at Iowa Speedway. So luckily we hit it just right and was able to make it really fast, really mostly in the race, but really all weekend also.
Well, you know, I was checking that race out at the end, and I kept thinking, my gosh, with all these restarts at the end, they're going to give like half the field a shot to see if they can take it away from you. Brendan Gaughan almost got you one time, and I mean, what was going through your mind with restart after restart there?
Yeah, that was definitely not ideal, and you kind of see that sometimes in Iowa where there's a bunch of restarts at the end, and that's actually how I got my first truck win was at Iowa in 2012, and I think there was 4 or 5 restarts at the end that we had to keep doing, and it gets frustrating as a driver, especially when you have such a great car, just because the restarts are a chance for you to give it away or for someone to make a bold move and end up spinning it out or something like that. You just never know what can happen. And so I was really nervous most of the restarts, but I know we had a really good car, and we were able to usually get clear through 1 and 2 and then kind of have the whole racetrack. But that restart with Brendan to our inside, and we made contact. That was really good, hard racing. And, as far as when we both came out of it straight, that's nothing to be, angry about or hold a grudge about. That's just good racing, trying to go for a win.
Yeah, Brendan actually had some comments. I want you to listen to him and think what you say about him.
Brendan Gaughan finished it up in fifth. I know you wanted to win, but that was fun to watch. Take us through that last restart where you got slipped up.
Last two restarts were a ton of fun. Ryan Blaney did a great job. A man named Dwayne Noor used to work with me on restarts for a long, long time, and I love him to death, and had two great restarts. I mean, 22 car was super strong, but I had good restarts. I had chances, and that last one I said, I'm going for the win. Got him, never going to wreck him. That's not my style, and I got into his left rear, and I go, oh no. We got it, we saved it, great save, and got the caution so we could get bunched back up, and saw the smoke on his left rear, and I was hoping he would finish and win the race because he deserved it. He did a hell of a job tonight, and South Point Chevy run top 3, top 4 all night long, and come home fifth the way we came home was pretty darn exciting for the fans.
So, Ryan, how concerned were you about that damage after those restarts?
I was pretty concerned, to be honest with you. And, first of all, I love racing with Brendan, and he's been a good friend of mine over the past few years. Whenever I started racing trucks, he started racing too. And right when I got my start, he was currently racing trucks and now racing against him in Xfinity. He's taught me a bunch of stuff, and he's a great guy to race with, and that was a lot of fun. But, yeah, he said it best. He definitely got a pretty good restart there those 2 times and was able to stick with us. And I was really nervous with that tire rub, because right when he got into us, we went into 3 pretty hard, and it smoked really bad in the cockpit, and I got really worried we were going to cut a tire down. But luckily it held on for those last 2 laps, and I don't know how. It was full of smoke inside the car, but it held on, and I was able to make it back.
You made mention that you and Brendan are friends, and there's actually, it's a new generation of drivers with friendships going on. You and Darrell Wallace and the likes of Chase Elliott, you guys have all raced each other throughout the years. We see relationships off the track that are extremely close. Do you find it difficult to separate your friendship on the track versus off the track?
Sometimes. Yeah, you're always going to have run-ins with some people, no matter if they're your friend or your enemy. It's going to happen on the racetrack, and that's our sport. And sometimes it's unavoidable, and you just can't but let it happen. And I've had more run-ins with close friends earlier in my career, and kind of when you're young and hungry, and you don't know a lot of stuff. You're just driving your heart out, and you don't really care who you get into. And as you run in it for a few years, you kind of relax a little bit, and those kind of run-ins don't really happen anymore with your friends. So that's something that is good and bad. You can always use a friend on the track and off the track, but when we're strapped in the race car, I treat everybody how they treat me, and if Darrell's treating me bad that day, maybe I'll race him a little bit harder than I would if he's treating me good that day. So it just kind of depends, no matter who it is.
And you see, he said back when he was young and hungry. You're still young and you're still hungry, so don't worry about any of that. We're chatting with Ryan Blaney, who drove the number 22 Discount Tire Ford to victory at Iowa Speedway Saturday night in the Xfinity Series. That car leads the Owners' Championship standings, 3rd different driver to win in the number 22 this season, and 5th win of the season for Team Penske. So, Ryan, coming up, what's next for you on the schedule? I know it's been kind of an on-again, off-again, and some frustration on the Cup side with the weather situation. So what's next for you schedule-wise?
I'm off this upcoming weekend. I don't go to Watkins Glen or anything. Brad and Joey are actually bringing 2 Xfinity cars for Brad and Joey to run, and we don't bring our 21 car there. But I'll be back in this 21 Motorcraft car in Michigan the following week. So I'll be in that, and I'm excited to finally get back there. Excited to get back to Ford's backyard and seeing how we can do there. We had a pretty strong run there earlier in the year. Kind of got cut short by rain, but we qualified 5th. I thought we qualified really well and had really good speed in our Ford Fusion. So I'm excited to get back there. It's going to be great to see everybody from Ford, and to have Edsel out. He'll be sitting on the box with us again. I'm really excited to have him out there too.
Yeah, coming off a Brickyard run in that 21, we had that new high drag, high downforce package. A heartbreaking second-place finish on Saturday's race. Do you look forward to that high drag package at Michigan?
I'm interested to see what it'll do at Michigan, at a place where it's a little bit wider, has a little bit more grooves. Indy is, right on the bottom, and that was really hard to kind of judge that package there. And I think we'll get a better thought of it here at Michigan when he can run 2 or 3 lanes and kind of get runs on guys and be able to do that. So I think this high drag package, I'm interested to see what's going to do at Michigan. I think the fans are definitely going to see a great race and see guys really draft up. That's really this package gives us the opportunity to do is get big runs on guys down the straightaways and have great racing in the corners. So I think the fans are really going to be in for a treat.
Because you're one of the few drivers that can answer this question, do you see a similar style between the high drag Cup car and the trucks?
A little bit, yeah. There's definitely a lot of similarities down the straightaways. In the corners, they're a little bit different, but the draft you get down the straightaways is fairly similar. Still a little bit bigger on the trucks, just because they have less horsepower. But there is similarities, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. We see great truck racing, and I think the Cup cars are going to start seeing that a little bit too.
Absolutely. That is Ryan Blaney, who drove the number 22 Discount Tire Ford to victory at Iowa Speedway on Saturday night, his first of the season, and now he'll be back in the Sprint Cup side at Michigan. Ryan, congratulations again, and as always, thanks for your time, man. Continued success.
I appreciate you having me on, and thank you to the Cup spotter, champion spotter Joey Meier for having me on too. That's always fun.
There you go. Thanks, man. See, everybody loves to give you crap, and I'm among them too.
Yeah, it's perfect because now with TV, my wife can give me crap.
Oh, wait, what?
Oh yeah, I'm slouching. I'm being told that I'm slouching.
Well, she takes care of us. She sent brownies.
So if she brings you brownies, she tells me I'm slouching. But yeah, thanks for that. So what a great run. Well-deserved by Ryan Blaney after, again, a heartbreaking second place, led the last 20 laps at the Brickyard, going to bring home a ring. Rogers there, everybody's watching. Kyle Busch gets him on the last corner of the last lap and able to pull off a victory, and Ryan finishes second. One of the hardest second places you'll ever have, heart-wise. So they go to Iowa. They're strung for competition. You know he's wired for a win, and he pulls it out, leads every lap but 8. And it's nice that his competitor, Joey Logano, gives him crap about not
I saw
leading
that,
all
and I
of
didn't
them,
catch on what he meant until he just was telling us that story. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, very good.
One of the other things that was interesting that happened in this race was it was Kenny Wallace's swan song, so to speak, for NASCAR. He's still going to run some dirt along the way, but after the event, he was in a Joe Gibbs racing car. He spoke with our Pete Pistone.
Well, here with Kenny Wallace, we talked to you before the race for your final start. Pretty adventurous out there. Fill us in on the night here at Iowa Speedway for your final start, Kenny.
Yeah, it was exciting. Obviously, I'm not going to be upset over a hard-earned 15th place finish. You know, it was just a deal where everything was going good. What were we, like 9th, 13th all night? And it looked like we were going to close in on a good finish. But as normal short track racing, the horns came out at the very end. And, you know, no excuse. Running along in the middle of the race there, and I felt something hit my left side leg. Lo and behold, my left side spot mirror fell out. But I just chewed Ryan Reed's butt out. I said, buddy, next time you spin some out like that, don't pass me up. He was going to walk right past me on pit road. So try to give those young kids a little bit of information. I said, when you spin somebody out, you stop. So, you know, going out, trying to give advice. And I'm not whining and crying about nothing. Earnhardt taught me. The only bummer is I can't go back and get him next week.
That's Kenny Wallace after the Xfinity race at Iowa. Chris Buescher leads the standings there now. Chase Elliott within 20 points. Ty Dillon closes to within 21. Another time out here on Motorsports Monday. When we come back, we'll talk with the Pocono winner, Matt Kenseth.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
When your friends walk in and see the model of Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull F1 car that's over 2 feet long, they're gonna freak. When you tell them it's radio controlled, they're gonna love it. Then when you tell them you built it yourself, they will be blown away. Build and race a 1/7 scale model of Sebastian Vettel's championship-winning RB7 Formula One car from modelspace.com. Even if you're a novice, the instructions are clear and concise with full-color photographs and extra videos online to guide you throughout the build. And how about this for detail? The kit comes with hydraulic fluid so you can build the shock absorbers yourself. Order now and you'll get the fuel bottle and RC controller free with your kit. Go online and check out all the free gifts, the amazing detail of the model, and download a sample of the build guide. Your friends won't believe it even when they see it. Start building your RC model today. Go online to buildrb7.com. Buildrb7.com. Buildrb7.com.
Hey, I'm Mike Bagley. Now back to Joey Meier and Woody Cain on Motorsports Monday.
The question is, does he have enough fuel to go the distance? Will he give up an opportunity to make it into the top 30 to go 4 in a row? He's across the line. He's going to try to do it here at Pocono, going for win number 4 in a row. He's in turn 1.
He is well off the pace, dramatically off the pace in turn number 1. His kingdom for a teaspoon of gasoline. Kyle Busch still not not running. Still not cutting it back on. Now it comes to life again at the exit of turn number 1.
But Kyle now is in the middle of the racetrack for the final time of the Long Pond straightaway. He is very, very slow. He's being passed by lap traffic. The question is, where is everybody else? Kyle Busch is out of gas. He is out of gas at the entrance to the tunnel turn. We're waiting for others to come by. Here comes Martin Truex Jr. He has been bypassed by Matt Kenseth. Matt Kenseth takes the lead up the tunnel turn. It's Kyle Busch out of fuel.
Kyle Busch continues to coast. Here comes Matt Kenseth into turn number 3 as the race leader, unchallenged at the front of the field. Kyle Busch may not make it back to the pit lane as Kenseth leads off turn 3.
The magic sweep of Kyle Busch comes up just 1 lap short, about a half a lap short, as his teammate sees the checkered flag. Matt Kenseth will win at Pocono.
Holy crap, we're going to win at Pocono? Good job, buddy. Yes. Dude, you're freaking awesome, man! Yeah, that is great! Great job, guys. I guess you should have stayed today. Awesome job, guys. This is probably one of my worst places, you guys. That was 100% you. Great job. That is awesome. Great job, Crazy. There for about a year too, man. Outside. Awesome work. Never in my life did I think we win a fuel mileage race.
There you go. The driver of the number 20 Dollar General Toyota Camry from Joe Gibbs Racing, Matt Kenseth, joins us on the guest line now. A fuel mileage race at Pocono, and you win it. The question is, who are you, and what have you done with Matt Kenseth?
Yeah, that was a great victory for us yesterday. We had a good car there the first race, ran top 5 most of the day and finished 6th, and had a good car yesterday. We were running up in the top 5. I think we were running 4th when everybody started having problems. So we ran really competitively. Had a bad restart, and the leaders got away from me, but thought we had a good car also, and I was able to save some fuel there that last run. And the way circumstances played out with that long run at the end, we had just enough fuel to make it.
Essentially 30 laps that last long run, plus or minus a couple laps. When did you start, and how aggressive were you on the fuel savings?
Yeah, I think we pitted with, I believe, 37 to go. And I ran a few laps, and I looked up at the scoreboard, and I was doing the math in my head, and I thought I was adding wrong because I knew before the race that, it was around 33, 34 laps. We could make it something like that. And I was looking, there was still 33 left. So I asked them, they told me 33 left, and I asked them if I needed to save fuel, and Jason said, not right now. So I started saving a little fuel. About 5 laps later, he told me that we needed to save a little bit, but he didn't want me to give up any gap behind me. So I saved a little bit more, and then I really wanted to get in front of Jimmy if I could, just in case they could make it, although they pitted a lap earlier than us. And I figured if we were close, he probably wasn't going to, but I still wanted to get in front of him just in case. And then as soon as I did, he backed up his pace, so then I was able to save a little bit more aggressively.
Matt, we've all seen fuel mileage races before. We've all seen fuel mileage strategies fail before when a guy tries to stretch it too far. But I'm hard-pressed to remember one where so many guys ran out at the end of a race. And this was as unusual a Pocono race or any race as you'll ever see. Was it as difficult to keep track of from your seat as it was from outside looking in?
Well, yeah, not really, because we kept pretty good track position all day. So that lap 15 competition yellow came out, and Jason and our group, kind of knew when they wanted to pit and where kind of our fuel mileage was and windows. And, of course, the caution's got to fall right for it to happen. But so we pitted them, and a lot of people stayed out, and that kind of got the strategy mixed up. But then the way the rest of the race went, we pretty much stayed in the top 5 all day. So I kind of knew what was going on more than I typically would, just because we never had a huge shift in track position. But everybody pits earlier and earlier now. They know if they can make it, let's say 30 laps, they'll pit with 34 to go and plan on cautions. The end of these Pocono races in recent history, the last few years, have all had a lot of cautions at the end. So I think everybody just pitted early, knowing they were short of fuel if it went green, but we're counting on cautions. So, I think that's what changed it, what made so many people run out. It's kind of like a road course. You want to be on pit road, because if you're close enough to the leader, you're not going to lose a lap. So if a caution does come out, you don't have to pit, and you keep your track position. So once a couple guys pit, everybody tries to get to pit road, anticipating a caution, which we never got.
Talking with Matt Kenseth after a dominating performance at Mount Pocono Speedway. Led 2 laps, was able to cross the start-finish line first, which all that matters.
Yeah.
The trophy never says fuel mileage on it. It says winner,
Yeah.
which I always try to explain. You got 2 wins now in the column, this chase format. We talk about it here and there. Does it allow you, once you have wins and you have 5 races left, are you guys still doing trial and error, or is it simply a matter of just moving on to the next track, trying to get that next victory?
Yeah, I mean, you never want error, and you're always trying stuff to get your cars better, but we try to, calculate the best we can to try to get what we need in our car to go forward. We don't really use races necessarily as test sessions. I mean, that's what we have practice for on Friday and Saturday, and we got 3 really, really good teammates and teams, and we all kind of go in different directions at times, so we can all try to learn from each other and try to plug in what's best for our car for qualifying and then for the races on Sunday. So I don't think anything really changes. You go out every week with the idea of putting your best foot forward and trying to win the race and go from there. I mean, you want to have momentum. You don't want to waste any of these races. They're all really huge events. To be able to win a Sprint Cup race is not an easy feat at all. I've been through a lot of really long dry spells, and you want to win races whenever you can win them. It's there's nothing bad about winning.
Yeah, I'd say whatever the procedure is, it's working over there at JGR.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, keep it up.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to ask you about, Matt. At the beginning of the season, I mean, Kyle gets hurt. You guys are saying we need a little more horsepower, and things don't seem to be going the right way. Now you got Kyle coming back and reeling off 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 5. You get back in victory lane. Carl's busting off poles. Give folks a sense of how different it feels at the shop these days versus the beginning of the year.
Well, the beginning of the year is a little bit different because we added a 4th team. We had a lot of new people there trying to get to know people, and everybody's trying to get into the system and get everybody on the same page. So that's a little different. But the group of people there, I've said it before in 13 when we were winning those races and stuff, but it's just a really special group of people, and it starts from the top, with the leadership we have. But honestly, last year having no wins, and in 2013 having a bunch of wins, the vibe in the shop really wasn't, much if any different. To be honest with you, I think they take everything from a real systematic approach, and they have a procedure and a way they work on things and a way we try to keep getting better, and that's whether we're behind or whether we're ahead. So. Everybody likes to win, and I feel like there's winners that win at JGR, but when we're not winning, they don't act like losers. They still act like winners, and they keep working on the stuff because they know they are, and they know we will get there. So the vibe to me in the shop hasn't really changed the whole time that I've been there. I mean, it's just it really is an amazing group, and they do a good job all around, and you can see that with how all 4 cars have performed here the last few months.
It's been been a unique stretch here in the Sprint Cup Series. We've had 6 races, and every week's been a different configuration. Starting back at Sonoma, then we go speedway racing, then we have low drag, and we have high drag, and we have road courses again. What's been your favorite?
Well, the Kentucky package. I mean, I think that there's probably still a little bit more you could do with that, but I think for just a one-shot deal, very limited practice because of the rain. Didn't get to match a tire up with it. I mean, I thought that was, as a driver, I thought it was a lot of fun. As a race fan, going back and watching Kyle run down the leader and be able to pass the leader and not have the leader just stick him in a bad aero spot and make him stuck. I mean, I thought that was really fun for me to watch. It kind of reminded me of the older days watching races. So I like that. I think that a lot of people were kind of tight, would maybe like to adjust that a little bit if we went back to that. But I enjoy that kind of racing just because I think it gives the driver so many more options. The more you have to slow down for the corner, the more you have to drive the car, the more you can try different lines on the racetrack, try to get bigger runs at people. The closer to the same speed you run all the way around the racetrack, it's the opposite. It just makes it harder to pass, harder to get a run because your speed variance isn't very much. The more you're depending on, aerodynamics and horsepower and all that stuff. So instead of as much, setup or mechanical grip or maybe driving styles or some of the different things you can do. So, everybody's going to have a different opinion. I know that NASCAR really wants to see what Michigan looks like and then go from there. So, hopefully we'll get figured out what's best for the sport, what's best for the fans, the sponsors, all that stuff, and come up with a rules package that everybody's not going to be happy with, but come up with a rules package that we can start working on and everybody can focus on and put on some great racing from here on out.
I'm with you. That Kentucky package was a lot more fun to watch. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we get to see it again at Darlington with a matched tire, which is exciting for everybody to look forward to. The office here has a suggestion box at the Sprint Cup level. We have the driver council at the the owner team, you have the RTA. What's one suggestion if you were on the driver council and they came to you and said, Matt, what's your opinion? What's one suggestion you would like to see to move forward with any of the package changes?
Oh man, that. I mean, I like the low downforce stuff, but here's the thing when you do that stuff. I think there's a lot of good that has come out of all this, but you also, have to be careful. I mean, it's always been NASCAR's been very, very, very successful through the years. There's not another form of motorsports in the United States that even comes close to competing with it. And it's always been a dictatorship, and they've made the rules and they've told you where we're going to race and when we're going to race and how we're going to race, and we show up and race, and the fans show up and watch it. 'Cause it's always been a great product. So I think you have to take suggestions. I think it's nice that they take suggestions, they listen to everybody, but nobody's going to have the same idea. Nobody's going to think the same. Even if you get together as drivers, all the drivers aren't going to think the same and want the same thing. It's kind of it's kind of wired in us. Everybody wants what they think is going to be best for them, or what they think is most fun. You know what? And some drivers might really like Daytona and Talladega and want everybody packed together. And some of us might really like low downforce because the cars are loose and you got to slow way down and do all that. So everybody's going to like something different. So I think NASCAR does a good job of sifting through all that, see what's best for the sport, what's best for the fans, which in turn is best for our sponsors and best for us, and make a decision and tell us what we're doing going forward and doing it.
Yeah, and now, Matt, after that, Joey talked about all the different packages. You've been to Sonoma. Now we go to Watkins Glen, a little bit less technical, higher speed road course. Back to that whole atmosphere, a math race, so to speak, I like to call them, where you work from the end and go backwards. What can we expect coming up this weekend at Watkins Glen?
Well, I don't think Watkins Glen is going to be a lot different than Watkins Glen ever is. I think that since the Gen, whatever it was, 5 car came along and all the cars were much closer to the same, and it was harder to build a, specialized road course car, and they made a lot of different rules and started mandating, tighter rules on gear ratios and transmissions and stuff. I think that road course racing has been some of the most exciting racing to watch that we do all year. I mean, the restarts are crazy. You run too wide through places that you'd never dream of running too wide through. Sometimes it comes with pit strategy and fuel mileage. Other time it doesn't. I mean, you've seen some just awesome finishes there the last couple of years. You saw Marcos and AJ duking it out on the very last lap in the last corner, sliding through there last year, and AJ came through. And then, the year before you had all the oil on the track. I think it was the year before with Kyle and the 2 car and the 9 all sliding through on the oil and finishing. So, I mean, there's been some great races there, and I don't think that this weekend will be any exception.
I couldn't agree more, yeah.
We saw a big fanfare this weekend from Iowa. Kenny Wallace has officially announced his retirement. I haven't heard much about Katie's retirement since her racing career there at Charlotte. Is it officially over?
Yeah, she never even actually got to race. Right. She just had a practice career that lasted about 20 minutes. The ambulance's ride was longer than the driving career. So, that is definitely over.
Okay. and as long as we're on the family train, you got to go and watch Ross, your son, make his debut in a Gibbs car earlier. What's next for him?
He's running some late model stuff. He's running up in Wisconsin tomorrow night at Kaukauna. So he's got some more late model stuff coming up. He's running Schrader's ARCA car at Kentucky later in, I think it's in September. And that's what all he's got going on right now. So he did a great job at Chicago. He almost sat on the pole. It was real close. And, ended up running 6th, even though the chips didn't really fall their way as far as strategy and the pits being closed that time and, having some other things go wrong. So he got put in a lot of different situations. I thought he did a great job for never being in one of those cars, even at a test or anything, and never being at that track. So hopefully he'll get some more opportunities. It's they're tough to come by, and he's working hard at it, and certainly had an impressive first showing in my opinion. So hopefully he'll get a chance to get in some more stuff here coming up.
Yeah, that'll be really cool to watch. That is Matt Kenseth, the driver, the number 20 Dollar General Toyota Camry at Joe Gibbs Racing. He's the winner at Pocono Raceway and getting set to head to Watkins Glen this weekend. Matt, congratulations again, and as always, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
There
Matt.
you go. Well, he's right, though. The Kentucky downforce package and the exciting racing on road courses in particular at Watkins Glen, those are both bullseyes.
And between that and a style event like we had in Iowa, could you imagine a low downforce short track road course.
You're like Dr. Frankenstein over there trying to put all this together.
Put it all together. But,
Yeah.
but we look forward to the driver input leaving Kentucky. Everybody was ecstatic. The Indy package, we can't say was a success, but we can't say it was a failure yet because of the style of track. We are anxiously awaiting going to Michigan to see it. But in the meantime, we get to fill it in with the road course, which is the best, most active road course we have, I believe, on the circuit from a chance of passing. And like Matt said, too wide at places you just can't go too wide. We don't see that at the other road courses in California because the track doesn't allow it. Watkins Glen allows that higher speed up the hill, down the back, through the chicane, off the carousel, all too wide.
A lot more speed,
And it puts out a lot of action. Again, the last 2 years of events, just like Matt was alluded to, were amazing to watch, amazing to be a part of. 2 years ago with, like he said, with Brad and Kyle and those guys,
And
Marcus.
Ambrose,
it was amazing. So we look forward to Watkins Glen. Really look forward to Darlington for a number of reasons. We've got throwback paint schemes.
That's going to be so cool.
Yeah, we got the low downforce package. We actually have a tire that we use for the low downforce. So everything right now is coming in a perfect storm, if you will, preparing for the Darlington event. But we have a great couple of weeks coming up here in the Sprint Cup Series.
Absolutely. Now let's finish up and put a bow on yesterday at Pocono, by the way. A couple of these guys we're going to hear from didn't expect things to come out the way they did. I don't think anybody expected things to come the way they did. But let's hear from the guy who wound up finishing in the second spot yesterday. Brad Keselowski had a chat with our Glenn Jarrett after the race.
An eventful day, not so good out on that one pit stop, but you guys were able to overcome it, Brad, and come home in second place.
Yeah, eventful is a good word for it, but the line struck parts forward was really fast there, and I made a mistake on pit road there really early in the race, and guys did a good job recovering from that to rally back to a second place finish, which is something to be proud of, but was really happy with the adjustments we made in the middle of the race. This car took off, and that was a lot of fun.
There you go. So an eventful day for you guys all the way around as well, and Brad just summed it up there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, years ago, an NFL coach was famously quoted as being asked, "What do you think about the execution of your team?" And he says, "I'm all for it." Okay, our execution of our team in the last 4 or 5 weeks has been terrible. We've had extremely fast cars, and we've been able to overcome some of our poor execution, whether it's been bad spotting, bad pit stops, mistakes on pit road. Different events of every racetrack have made us crawl out of a hole. Fortunately, we've had really fast race cars to do it. That's a good problem to have. We can minutely tune the problems we're making ourselves and allow us to take advantage of the fast race cars. So that's what they did yesterday. Joey and the 2-car both had extremely fast race cars. Brad had an incident on pit road, which we've well documented. Great pictures. Everybody's fine. We're happy about that.
That's spectacular.
Finished
picture,
second. Awesome. Great finish for those guys. We look forward to going to Watkins Glen. Last year we had a little bit of a mechanical problem while we were running good early in the race. So we look forward to going to Watkins Glen. The interesting thing is now we're starting to come into the season where Jeff Gordon is showing up at the tracks for the very last time. Pocono, the first time he was there, I get to see it again. Yesterday, Pocono was able to give a little bit of thing. They did a 24 on the scoreboard while we were sitting there looking at nothing. They painted Gordon across the start-finish line. So Jeff had a couple of comments to talk about after Pocono.
This is your 32nd top 10 here, and this might be the craziest one ever. Tell us about the end of this race.
Well, it'd be a long list if we talked to a bunch of people in the grandstands and myself and everybody on pit road and probably people watching at home to find out who was more surprised that we finished third than anybody else. Yeah, that was crazy. I'm just so proud of Alan Gustafson and everybody on this AARP, service advantages, member advantages, Chevrolet. This team fought through a lot. We've been fighting hard, just haven't been getting the results. And today they stuck with a strategy and it played out. It wasn't looking good at times, but boy, it sure looked good when we crossed the checkered flag.
Wow, he was as happy and as surprised as just about anybody at the end of that race. But he told me before we started talking there, that's why you got to race them all the way to the end. You never know what might happen.
You have to finish the race, and you never know what's going to happen. Like, you can't keep track of everybody else's strategy. You think you know what they're doing, but you never know. All you know is what you're doing and what you're capable of doing and what your car is doing and your crew chief and your pit crew. You have to run all 160 laps. Those guys that were up front, they were planning on those cautions based on the stats. The guys in the back knew the only opportunity they had to get track position was to play the fuel mileage game and stretch out of fuel mileage and play it out. So it was different strategies, played out well for all three of the top three. The 20 car won, the 2 car who was a lap down, restarted 33rd, able to come back second. Jeff Gordon, who we never talked about at his last entry at Pocono, was able to come home third. So great run. And a finish for all three of those guys.
Absolutely. And one of the coolest comments I saw, Landon Castle came home 14th, and after the race, he tweeted out that for the first time in his career, he actually took the white flag twice because he unlapped himself right on the as the white flag came out and then came back around to take it again. So the first time ever a guy took the white flag twice in the race, and a strong run for them. That was really cool to see. All right, we've still got a lot more to go here on Motorsports Monday. We'll bring you some more comments from drivers along the way. We've got on track, off track as well, and your comments on Motorsports Monday. Use Twitter at MRN Radio. Use the hashtag AskMRN. Back after this.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
The road to victory lane isn't just for drivers anymore. Introducing the official daily fantasy game of NASCAR at DraftKings.com, America's favorite daily fantasy sports site. Just pick a team of 5 drivers and stay under the salary cap. Outscore your opponents and win. Hurry to DraftKings.com now and use promo code COAST to play for free. You could win part of the $1 billion in prizes being awarded this year. Enter COAST to play for free now at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com.
Hi, this is Eli Gold, the host of NASCAR Live. We've been taking your calls every Tuesday night for over 30 years, but now you don't have to wait for Tuesday. Call Motor Racing Network's fan hotline at 844-4-ASK-MRN.
I think Kyle Busch should be able to step right in and run for the championship if he gets a win. Just like any other sports figure, they're out for part of the season because of an injury. They come in, they win the championship, they win the trophy.
Be a part of the voice of NASCAR. Call 844-4-ASK-MRN.
Hi, I'm Jeff Burton. Now back to Joey Meier and Woody Cain on Motorsports Monday.
Got on track, off track coming up here in just a moment, but hearing Jeff Burton there reminded me of something. We talked about the incident with Cain on pit road in the race earlier in practice. Jeff Burton hit at almost the same spot, and immediately you hear, oh, we got to do something. We got to fix something. We got to extend the pit wall. We got to do something. I was talking with Jeff Burton on the plane coming home last night, and he said, well, if you extend that wall, the wall that separates the track from pit road, that might make it even more dangerous. You're trying to block cars from sliding into it. And he suggested maybe the one thing you could think of was eliminating those last few pit boxes and moving them down toward the turn one end. There's also something there around Victory Lane where there are no pit boxes. There's just a gap there where nobody can pit. But you're of the opinion that some things just aren't meant to be fixed, right?
If you're so, are we doing on track off? Is this the official entry to on track
well,
off track?
hang on. We got if we're going to do that, then let's do this. All right.
There you go.
Our on track off track segment is brought to you by D'Agostini Model Space. Build and drive a 1/7 scale radio controlled model of Sebastian Vettel's championship winning Red Bull RB7. Find out more at buildrb7.com. That's buildrb7.com.
Gotta get
now
one.
you can
we
go.
Gotta get one of
Yeah,
those.
we should have one right here on the set.
Cars.
I want to see you try to build one. That's what I want to see.
On set, on air, live.
Yeah. Oh God, we only have an hour show.
If you're driving down the road and you have a flat tire, you pull the spare tire out, you put it on, you go get that tire fixed.
Right.
You don't put all new 4 tires on your car, assuming they had decent tread and you got an inspection. Just because there's a fault. And I'm not saying there's not a better way to do something. It doesn't mean that the current way is inadequate. So that's the issue we have. Once, people pay good money to fly in airplanes. There's still airplane accidents, but people are willing to assume a risk. When you go to a racetrack, there are assumed risks and liabilities that everybody assumes. My on-track is the very success of being able to demonstrate the safety innovations that we've had over a number of years. Pocono has been built for a long time.
Yeah.
It has a unique pit wall that the guys jump over. It's a steel I-beam girder with steel beams in the ground.
Sunk into the track,
okay.
yeah.
We saw 2 incidences, unfortunately, where the cars got onto the pit road area at extreme high rates of speed. That wall was constructed 40 years ago, did an amazing job of doing exactly what it was designed to do. keep the car safe from the pedestrians and the crew members, deflect the car away, not get into the driver compartment like we used to see years ago where guardrails would go through the car.
Yeah.
It did exactly what it was supposed to. It held up. It kept the car on the ground. It didn't shoot it back up in the air. We fast forward to today's 2015 innovations. We saw Brad slide through his pit stop, through his pit stall, threw guys up in the air. Those guys landed on their heads and shoulders and arms, had helmets, had pads. They were able to get up nonchalantly, probably a little bit sore, and finish their job. 10 years ago, that wouldn't have happened. Our jackman, Braxton, would have been severely or potentially severely injured, landing on his head with a 20-pound jack landing on him.
It wasn't so long ago that they didn't have the helmets.
Exactly right. So the innovations we have for safety is my on track because they're working and they're doing exactly what they're supposed to. We are in a very dangerous sport. Let's not kid. This is racing. Okay, it's not gardening and you pricked yourself with a thorn. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's racing. There's some assumed liabilities. Whenever we have a wreck, we don't try to completely overhaul. We had several wrecks happen yesterday. We saw down in turn 1. Nobody got injured, but there were still wrecks.
Yeah.
So my point is why aren't we looking at turn 1 going, oh, we got to design the track change. We got to change something. We had wrecks. We had a wreck on pit road. Nobody got hurt. Thankfully, because these innovations, as long as we keep moving along in the same way and looking at, just like an airplane accident, you go back and look and you say, what went right, what went wrong? Let's keep doing what went right, and then that will continue the safety.
Yeah, I think it'll be something that will be looked at just because, and I think that's the answer to your question is why is this being asked? Because 2 incidents that we haven't seen in years happen on the same weekend, and I think that's what's kind of called it out to highlight it a little bit. But I agree that the wall did its job. Nobody got hurt, thankfully. I know when I saw the helmets flying through the air, I'm thinking, oh, boy, this isn't going to be good. But fortunately, everything worked as it was supposed to, as you said, and turned out good. Now, my on track is fuel mileage races. A lot of people are going to go, fuel mileage races? I hate fuel mileage races. They're so boring. I got news for you, folks. They're all fuel mileage races. When they crank the cars to start that race, gentlemen, start your engines, they immediately cut them back off again because they're trying to save fuel. They knew what was coming. They knew what they were going to have to do. And all these races, to some degree or another, are fuel mileage races. To me, what makes it interesting is the strategy involved. Are you going to back time it, as Matt Kenseth said, and play it like a road course race? Are you going to be on a different agenda than everybody else and go to pit road when nobody – it's like Rodney Dangerfield and Caddyshack. They're all buying, then sell. You know, you'd be on a different agenda. And I think there were at least 4 different categories of strategies being played out in that race yesterday, and to me, that's what made it interesting and fun.
And even one we hadn't seen before. There were a group of teams there in the beginning of the race that were going to get rid of one whole pit stop.
The 41 was one of them, as a matter of fact.
Exactly right. So absolutely, the fuel mileage gamble takes place as you roll your car onto pit road before the start of the race. It's up to everybody that they can do the exact same thing.
Just because it's a fuel mileage race doesn't necessarily mean it was boring. I know it was difficult to keep up with from a strategy standpoint of who was on what agenda, and as Matt Kenseth pointed out a little while ago, those may change depending on when cautions come out beforehand. But you're right. Teams can sit down before the race and say, we're going to do X, Y, and Z come hell or high water, and go with that and stick with that.
They also have adjustments. They put spring rubbers in. They can adjust the track bar. They can adjust wedge. They can talk to the driver about his track bar. That's all part of the strategy.
Yeah.
All this is fuel mileage is another cog in that spoke of strategy wheels.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk off track now.
So as we move forward, NASCAR has come up with a set of different rules throughout this year, whether it's qualifying rules, whether it's different configuration rules. We're starting to hear some murmurs about more rule packages because they're trying to create more pack racing at a place like Michigan and California. There was a great article on the internet this weekend from Doug Yates, who's the head engine builder of one of the largest and successful engine teams.
He's a sharp guy. I love talking
Roush
to him.
Yates, years and years of family with Doug Yates. His dad was in the industry. Robert Yates, very successful car owner. NASCAR has a very precarious balance that they have to do. They're trying to, and we talk about saving race teams money, and we want to create better racing. We can't approach this with just throwing darts at a bulletin board and seeing what comes out. We need to be more methodical. We have the engineering and the technology and the resources to get together. What was coming out was we were going to try to use or looking at using restrictor plates to create a more speedway atmosphere for Michigan and California. And
Wow.
if that were the case, Doug was talking about how over budget their race team and their engine shop was already.
Mm-hmm. Because these teams aren't going to sit still when there's a change. They're not going to just change this little piece. They're going to change all the other ones that make that work to its optimal level.
Right. That's exactly right. So the only thing I'm saying is from an on-track or an off-track issue is let's be more controlled at how we're making these changes. That includes all the owners, all the engine builders, and all the drivers to make this racing a better package.
All right. My off-track is similar. The 2015 rules package, what we've seen clearly, and you heard again Matt Kenseth talk about it, where you can move your line with the 2015 package and stunt a guy's charge on you.
Yep.
With that new rules package, the low downforce when we saw at Kentucky that he told us he likes the best, and almost I haven't heard any driver say they didn't enjoy that package right now. I think that's the direction we need to go. What is clear is that we're too aero-dependent still with the 2015 package, and we need to pick a direction to go. So that's my off-track. We've got a question to answer from our fan forum hotline. We'll do that after we take our final timeout here on Motorsports Monday.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
When your friends walk in and see the model of Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull F1 car that's over 2 feet long, they're gonna freak. When you tell them it's radio controlled, they're gonna love it. Then when you tell them you built it yourself, they will be blown away. Build and race a 1/7 scale model of Sebastian Vettel's championship-winning RB7 Formula One car from modelspace.com. Even if you're a novice, the instructions are clear and concise with full-color photographs and extra videos online to guide you throughout the build. And how about this for detail? The kit comes with hydraulic fluid so you can build the shock absorbers yourself. Order now and you'll get the fuel bottle and RC controller free with your kit. Go online and check out all the free gifts, the amazing detail of the model, and download a sample of the build guide. Your friends won't believe it even when they see it. Start building your RC model today. Go online to buildrb7.com. Buildrb7.com. Buildrb7.com.
Hey, I'm Austin Dillon. Now back to Joey Meier and Woody Cain on Motorsports Monday.
I'm wondering why it is that the cars don't have some sort of fuel sensor in them that either A, transmits the amount of fuel that the car has back to the pit crew, or allows the driver to see how much fuel he has left.
That's Philip Jackson from Bristol, Virginia, calling in on our fan forum hotline. It's 844-4-ASK-MRN. If you have questions, you can call us anytime. So, Joey, why not?
One of the things years ago that we did years ago, 40 and 50 years ago, when NASCAR started establishing rules, is they removed some of the equipment out of the stock car.
Mm-hmm.
The speedometer is one of the most notorious gauge. The fuel gauge was another one. They do have a gauge that lets them know fuel quantity. It's called the engine.
That's not a gauge.
When there's not enough fuel in the car, it gets quiet.
Well, yeah, it does, but that's not a gauge.
And we saw it. So NASCAR alleviated some instrumentation years ago, and that rule has been in place ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the strategy is allowing the crew to calculate fuel mileage
Mm-hmm.
and prepare for that race and strategy. This weekend is a good example of that.
Yeah.
Guys were getting anywhere from high 4s to low 5 miles per gallon on these cars.
That just seems so odd to hear, but I know it's right.
And it's what it's allowing these guys to stretch fuel mileage. If you got half a mile per gallon more than the guy in front of you, guys like Matt Kenseth were able to win the race. Guys that were getting high 4s were running out. So it's simply a matter of it's a rule that was established years ago, and we've kept that trend going on.
Absolutely. So there is your answer. Thanks, Philip Jackson, for calling. 844-4-ASK-MRN, the line on the fan forum hotline. You can call and ask questions about any of our programs, comment on the races, what questions you'd like us to ask drivers, you name it. It's there for you, the fans. All right, you mentioned Watkins Glen earlier, headed there this weekend. The Xfinity Series is there along with the Sprint Cup Series. And, boy, as Matt Kenseth said, the most exciting racing, some of it we see.
Yeah, I'm tickled pink. I got 2 opportunities to do this race with Brad this weekend. He's in the 22 discount tire. I think we're in the Hertz car possibly, and Joey's in a discount tire car. And then the Cup race. 2 awesome opportunities. I'm excited because my driver likes it. There are some guys showing up where their driver doesn't like it. They don't look forward. They get through it kind of like a speedway race.
Yeah.
All right, Dale Jr. likes going to speedway races. He's not a big fan of Sonoma and Watkins Glen because he's not competitive enough at it. He'll get better over the years. I love going. Brad's good. Joey's good. I can't wait to go to Watkins Glen this weekend. Very good atmosphere. The opportunity exists. And if it rains, the Sprint Cup cars are using rain tires.
Oh, boy. Now you've opened up a whole nother can of worms. Hey, we did mention the truck race. We're almost out of time here. Kyle Busch wins that, his debut back. Kyle Busch Motorsports back on the right track in the trucks.
Yeah, because they were way off track.
Well, I mean, earlier in the season, they weren't getting the wins, and everybody was going crazy and losing their minds.
Sorry.
Yeah. I know you are. I can tell. That was sincerity, folks. All right, I want to thank our guest, Ryan Blaney, the winner at Iowa in the Xfinity Series. Matt Kenseth, the winner at Pocono in the Sprint Cup Series. We are headed to Watkins Glen International this weekend. All the programming here on MRN.com. I'm Woody. He's Joey. See you next time.
You've been listening to MRN Motorsports Monday. Tune in again next Monday at noon for all the latest news, results, and interviews from NASCAR on MotorRacingNetwork.com. MRN Motorsports Monday is also available on demand at the MotorRacingNetwork.com Media Center or download it from iTunes or Stitcher. MRN Motorsports Monday is a production of the Motor Racing Network.